It was Mother's Day. The sun was warm that morning, and I had just placed a small vase of wildflowers on my kitchen table. They weren't fancy flowers, just the ones that grew near the fence, yellow and soft. But to me they were beautiful. I made myself a cup of tea the same way I do every morning, slow and gentle with 1 spoon of sugar. The little house was quiet, except for the clock ticking on the wall. Sometimes quiet feels like peace. Other times it feels like loneliness. That day it was both. My son Ethan hadn't called yet. He usually sent me a text or a short video message. He was always too busy, he said, managing his company, traveling, meeting people who spoke in money rather than words. Still I waited. It had been months since I saw him last, at Christmas, when he and Clara came for exactly 3 hours. They brought me expensive perfume, a silk scarf, and a check for $5,000. Clara said it like she was giving away candy. "Just a little something for you, Mom." I thanked her, but my heart sank. She never called me Mom before. That morning, I looked at the check still tucked between the pages of my old Bible. I had never cashed it. I didn't need it. It didn't feel like love. It felt like silence wrapped in money. Then just before noon the phone rang. I smiled and answered. "Ethan," I said, my heart lifting. "Happy Mother's Day, Mom," he said. His voice was warm, polished like always. "How are you?" "I'm fine, dear. I was just thinking of you." He laughed a little. "Clara said to send her love. She's out shopping with friends right now, but we both wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for us." I smiled again, even though my hands trembled slightly. "Oh, that's sweet of her." Then his tone changed just a little. He hesitated. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "Of course," I said softly. He cleared his throat. "Do you like the $5,000 Clara gives you every month?" I froze. "Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of life's quiet miracles, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps our little storytelling family grow." For a moment, I didn't know what to say. The question hung in the air like smoke. I looked around my little kitchen, the faded curtains, the old stove, the simple vase of flowers. And I thought, why would he ask me that? I tried to smile through the phone. "Oh, Ethan, you don't need to worry about that." He chuckled, but I could tell he was uneasy. "Mom, it's okay. You can be honest. Clara told me you never even thank her properly. She said maybe you don't appreciate her efforts." My chest tightened. "She said that?" "Yes. And she's been sending that money every month to help you out. I just wanted to make sure you're happy with it." Happy. Such a small word. Such a painful one when used wrong. I took a deep breath. "I appreciate every kindness, Ethan," I said slowly. "But sometimes kindness has a price that feels too heavy." He went silent. I could hear the air conditioning humming in the background, the distant sound of a car horn, city noises. Then he sighed. "Mom, I know you and Clara never really got along, but she's trying, okay? I told her you're just not used to expensive things." Expensive things. He said it like it explained everything. I smiled faintly, though he couldn't see it. "I'm not sure expensive things make people good, Ethan," I whispered. He didn't reply right away. Instead, he said, "You always make things deeper than they are, Mom. It's just money. Just money." If only he knew. After we hung up, I sat quietly for a long time. I looked again at the Bible on my table, the uncashed check between its pages. My hands shook slightly as I opened it. There, right next to the check, was an old photo, a picture of Ethan as a child, maybe 5 years old. He was covered in mud from the backyard, grinning proudly because he'd helped me plant the first rose bush by the porch. He used to say, "When I grow up, Mom, I'll buy you a big house with hundreds of roses." He did grow up. He did get rich. But somehow, the roses stopped growing between us. That night, I sat by the window, watching the sky turn pink and orange. And I remembered the day Clara first came into our lives. She was elegant, polite, and always careful with her words. She smiled easily, but never with her eyes. She wore perfume that filled the whole room, and she carried herself like she was always being watched. I liked her at first. Any mother would. She made Ethan happy, or so I thought. But happiness built on control never lasts. I noticed little things, how she spoke for him, how she corrected him in front of people, how she treated kindness like an investment. When they married, I tried to stay close. I sent gifts, called on weekends, baked her favorite pie. But slowly, she built a wall between us, one small excuse at a time. Oh, Ethan's busy. Oh, you don't need to visit, Mom. Oh, I'll send you something instead. And then the money started coming. At first, I was confused, then hurt, then quiet. I didn't tell Ethan the truth that day. Not yet. But his question, that one question, opened the door to everything I'd been keeping inside. Because that $5,000 a month wasn't a gift. It was an apology. And soon he would find out why. I still remember the first time Ethan brought Clara home. It was a warm afternoon in late spring. He had called me a week earlier, excitement in his voice. Mom, he said, I want you to meet someone special. The way he said it made my heart flutter. Every mother knows that tone, half nervous, half proud. He was 30 then, working in a new company, always on the move, too busy for holidays, too busy even for himself. But when he talked about her, his voice softened. I spent the whole morning cleaning the house, dusting the shelves, baking an apple pie, and ironing my best tablecloth. The one with little blue flowers that my mother had embroidered before she passed. I wanted everything to feel welcoming, homely, real. When their car pulled into the driveway, I felt a lump in my throat. That night, I sat by the window, watching the sky turn pink and orange. And I remembered the day Clara first came into our lives. She was elegant, polite, and always careful with her words. She smiled easily, but never with her eyes. She wore perfume that filled the whole room, and she carried herself like she was always being watched. I liked her at first. Any mother would. She made Ethan happy, or so I thought. But happiness built on control never lasts. I noticed little things, how she spoke for him, how she corrected him in front of people, how she treated kindness like an investment. When they married, I tried to stay close. I sent gifts, called on weekends, baked her favorite pie. But slowly, she built a wall between us, one small excuse at a time. Oh, Ethan's busy. Oh, you don't need to visit, Mom. Oh, I'll send you something instead. And then the money started coming. At first, I was confused, then hurt, then quiet. I didn't tell Ethan the truth that day. Not yet. But his question, that one question, opened the door to everything I'd been keeping inside. Because that $5,000 a month wasn't a gift. It was an apology. And soon he would find out why. I still remember the first time Ethan brought Clara home. It was a warm afternoon in late spring. He had called me a week earlier, excitement in his voice. Mom, he said, I want you to meet someone special. The way he said it made my heart flutter. Every mother knows that tone, half nervous, half proud. He was 30 then, working in a new company, always on the move, too busy for holidays, too busy even for himself. But when he talked about her, his voice softened. I spent the whole morning cleaning the house, dusting the shelves, baking an apple pie, and ironing my best tablecloth. The one with little blue flowers that my mother had embroidered before she passed. I wanted everything to feel welcoming, homely, real. When their car pulled into the driveway, I felt a lump in my throat. That night, I sat by the window, watching the sky turn pink and orange. And I remembered the day Clara first came into our lives. She was elegant, polite, and always careful with her words. She smiled easily, but never with her eyes. She wore perfume that filled the whole room, and she carried herself like she was always being watched. I liked her at first. Any mother would. She made Ethan happy, or so I thought. But happiness built on control never lasts. I noticed little things, how she spoke for him, how she corrected him in front of people, how she treated kindness like an investment. When they married, I tried to stay close. I sent gifts, called on weekends, baked her favorite pie. But slowly, she built a wall between us, one small excuse at a time. "Oh, Ethan's busy." "Oh, you don't need to visit, Mom." "Oh, I'll send you something instead." And then the money started coming. At first, I was confused, then hurt, then quiet. I didn't tell Ethan the truth that day. Not yet. But his question, that one question, opened the door to everything I'd been keeping inside. Because that $5,000 a month wasn't a gift. It was an apology. And soon he would find out why. I still remember the first time Ethan brought Clara home. It was a warm afternoon in late spring. He had called me a week earlier, excitement in his voice. "Mom," he said, "I want you to meet someone special." The way he said it made my heart flutter. Every mother knows that tone, half nervous, half proud. He was 30 then, working in a new company, always on the move, too busy for holidays, too busy even for himself. But when he talked about her, his voice softened. I spent the whole morning cleaning the house, dusting the shelves, baking an apple pie, and ironing my best tablecloth. The one with little blue flowers that my mother had embroidered before she passed. I wanted everything to feel welcoming, homely, real. When their car pulled into the driveway, I felt a lump in my throat. "You really didn't need to go through all that trouble." Her eyes darted toward the pie, then back at me. I noticed a small stack of envelopes on the table, one of them with my name written on it. "Oh, that's your next check," she said quickly, picking it up. I was about to send it. I looked at it quietly. "Clara," I asked gently, "why do you keep sending me money?" She froze for a moment. Then she laughed lightly. "Oh, Mom, don't overthink it. You know Ethan worries about you. It's just his way of helping." Her eyes said something else, a flicker of guilt, gone as quickly as it appeared. That night, when I got home, I couldn't sleep. Something about her voice, her rush to explain, stayed in my mind. Ethan never mentioned the money, not once. So I wondered, was it really his idea? Or was it hers alone? And why? Months passed. Then one evening, I got a call from one of Ethan's childhood friends, Mark. He hadn't spoken to Ethan in years, but he still called me Aunt Mae. We chatted for a while, and then he said something that made my heart sink. "Mrs. Walker," he said, "I saw Clara at the charity gala last month. She told everyone how generous she is, that she supports you financially since Ethan is too busy. People were praising her like she's a saint." I didn't know what to say. I felt my throat close. So that's what the money was for. It wasn't help. It was a story. A performance. She wasn't sending love. She was buying admiration. From that day, something in me changed. I stopped touching the money. I let it sit in the account, untouched. And every time I saw her smile in photos or on social media, dressed in expensive gowns, holding charity checks, I felt a quiet ache in my chest. Because somewhere in all that glitter, my son's love for me had turned into a transaction. When Mother's Day came that year, the same day Ethan asked that question, all those buried feelings began to rise. His question wasn't just about money. It was about what kind of mother I had become in his eyes. Someone to be helped, not loved. And I knew deep down that the truth about Clara's generosity would one day have to come out. But I didn't expect it to happen so soon. After that Mother's Day call, Ethan's question stayed in my heart like a small thorn. "Mom, do you like the $5,000 Clara gives you?" It sounded innocent, but it carried a truth I had been avoiding. A truth that had been whispering to me for years. I didn't sleep much that night. I sat in my old wooden chair by the window, staring at the quiet street outside. A street lamp flickered near the corner. Somewhere a dog barked. My house felt even smaller than usual, not because of its size, but because of the emptiness that money could never fill. The next morning, I went through my drawers. Inside, I kept every letter, every card, every message Ethan and Clara had ever sent. There weren't many. Most were typed short, impersonal like business notes. But the ones that hurt most were the gift notes Clara sent with each transfer. One said, Just wanted to make sure you're comfortable, Mom. Don't worry about anything. Another said, I told Ethan we should increase the amount. You deserve the best. It wasn't kindness. It was control written in soft words. I stared at the notes for a long time. Then I opened my Bible again, the one that held the first check. Beside it, I kept that picture of Ethan as a boy, smiling, muddy, full of life. I whispered to it, What happened to you, my boy? When did love turn into charity? A few days later, I received another delivery. A fancy package wrapped in gold paper, tied with a satin ribbon. The tag said, From Clara, happy early birthday. Inside, there was a designer handbag. Still had the tag on. Inside the bag, an envelope. When I opened it, my breath caught. It wasn't just money this time. It was a note, but this one was different. Written in a rush, not her usual neat handwriting. Please don't tell Ethan. I'll explain soon. That was it. No greeting. No name. Just those words. My heart raced. Why would Clara send that? Why send me something expensive, and then tell me not to mention it to her husband? I waited a few days, expecting a call, an explanation, anything. But none came. Clara didn't call. Ethan didn't either. The silence grew heavier. One afternoon, I decided to go into town. I carried the handbag with me. Not to use it, but to see if I could return it. At the boutique, the young woman at the counter smiled politely. Oh, this model? It was purchased last week by a Mrs. Clara Walker. Full payment in cash. I nodded slowly. Can I return it? She checked the tag. I'm afraid not, ma'am. It's final sale. But you could exchange it. I sighed. No, thank you. I don't think I need anything new. As I turned to leave, she added, Mrs. Walker bought 2 of these, actually. She said one was for her mother. Her mother. But Clara's mother had passed away years ago. Ethan had told me that himself. A cold chill ran through me. If it wasn't for her mother, then who was the other bag for? That evening, I couldn't eat. I just sat at the kitchen table, thinking, piecing things together. The rushed note. The lie at the store. The secrecy around the money. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. And then, as if the world was listening, the phone rang. It was Ethan. Mom, Clara's been acting strange lately, he said. She's distracted, nervous. Is everything okay between you two? I froze. I haven't spoken to her recently, I said carefully. Why? He hesitated. She said you might be upset about the money. I told her that's silly, but she seemed worried. Worried. I almost asked him about the note. I almost told him everything. But I stopped myself. If Clara was hiding something, Ethan needed to find out from her, not me. Otherwise, he might think I was jealous or bitter. So I simply said, Ethan, just promise me something. What's that? Don't let money make you blind to truth. Even gold can hide dirt underneath. He laughed softly. Oh, Mom, you always talk like you're in a storybook. But I wasn't telling a story. I was living one. A week later, I got another envelope, this time delivered by hand. No fancy courier. Just an older postman who'd been on my route for years. It came from the city, he said. No sender name. Inside, there was a small photo. Clara, standing with a man I didn't recognize. They were at a restaurant, smiling, leaning close. The kind of closeness that said more than words ever could. On the back of the photo was a date, 2 months earlier. My hands trembled. The truth hit me like a storm. Clara had been sending me money not out of love, not even out of pity, but out of fear. Fear that someone might tell Ethan what she'd been hiding. I sat there for a long time, trying to breathe. I didn't know who sent the photo. I didn't know how to process the betrayal. But one thing became clear. Ethan deserved to know the truth. Only, I wasn't sure how to tell him. He loved her so much. He saw her as perfect. And I couldn't bear to break his heart. So I waited. And I prayed. And I hid the photo inside my Bible, beside the uncashed check, the symbols of two different lies. Then came the call that changed everything. It was late at night. Ethan's voice was tense. "Mom," he said, "I need to ask you something. And please be honest." My chest tightened. "What is it, dear? Did you ever get anything strange from Clara? Letters, money, anything she didn't tell me about?" I went silent. How did he know? He sighed heavily. "She's been crying all evening. She said she's scared you'll tell me something that will ruin us." Tears welled in my eyes. Ethan listened to me. But he cut in sharply. "What is it, Mom? What do you know?" I took a deep breath. "Ethan, she's been hiding something from you. The money, it's not a gift. It's a payment." There was silence. Then his voice cracked. "What do you mean, a payment?" "She was trying to keep me quiet, Ethan. About something she did. Something she didn't want you to find out." He didn't speak for a long time. Just his breathing, slow, shaky, trying to hold on. Then in a whisper, "Do you have proof?" I told him about the photo. He said nothing. Then quietly, "I'm coming home tomorrow." That night I didn't sleep. I sat in the same chair by the window, waiting for the sunrise, feeling both sorrow and peace. Because I knew, the truth always finds its way out, no matter how deep people try to bury it. And when morning came, and the sound of Ethan's car filled the driveway, I knew the day had finally arrived. The day he would see who his wife really was. The morning Ethan arrived, the sky was pale and heavy with clouds. I had been awake since before dawn, the kettle whistling softly on the stove. It had been years since my son came home without Clara. Usually she arrived first, smiling, polished, ready to direct every moment like a stage play. But this time she wasn't with him. When I heard the car stop outside, I stood by the window. He stepped out slowly, wearing a dark suit, his face pale and tired. "No briefcase. No es Mae." Just silence following him up the little path to my door. The one I had kept hidden for months. I handed it to him without a word. He stared at it for a long time, his jaw tightening. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet but trembling. "Who sent you this?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "It came in the mail. No name, no letter." He exhaled, his hands shaking slightly. "Mom, that's her coworker. She told me they were just friends." I stayed silent. He rubbed his forehead. "She's been lying to me for months, hasn't she?" I didn't want to say it, but the truth had already begun to speak for itself. "I think so, Ethan. And I think the money was her way of making sure I didn't ask questions." He looked at me sharply. "You mean she paid you to stay quiet?" Tears filled my eyes. She didn't say it directly, but that's what it felt like. He leaned back in his chair, covering his face with his hands. "I feel sick." We sat in silence for a while. Outside, a light drizzle began to fall, tapping softly against the window. After a few minutes, he spoke again. "I thought she was perfect. Everyone did. She had this way of making people believe she was always right, always good." He laughed bitterly. "And I let her convince me you were ungrateful, that you didn't appreciate what she did." My heart broke a little. "I never wanted you to think that, Ethan. I just didn't want to cause trouble." He nodded slowly. "I know that now. I see it." He stared at the photo again. "I'm going to confront her," he said finally. "I can't live like this." I hesitated. "Be careful, Ethan. Sometimes anger makes people say things they can't take back." He looked up at me, his eyes red. "I don't want revenge, Mom. I just want the truth." That evening he drove back to the city. I watched from the porch as his car disappeared down the road. The rain had stopped, but the air still smelled of thunder. I didn't hear from him for 2 days. Those were the longest 2 days of my life. Every sound made me jump. Every ring of the phone made my heart skip. Then on the 3rd day he called. His voice was calm, too calm. "Mom, can I come over?" "Of course," I said. "Are you okay?" He didn't answer that part. I'll be there soon." When he arrived, he looked different. Not angry, not broken, just older. He sat down at the same table, folded his hands, and said quietly, "You were right." I waited. "She admitted everything," he said finally. "The man in the photo. It's been going on for almost a year. She said it started after one of our business trips. She called it a mistake." He laughed bitterly. "But the part that hurts most, she told me she sent you money because she didn't want you to find out from someone else. She said you were the only one who could ruin everything for her." Tears slid down my face. "Oh, Ethan." He shook his head. "She wasn't even sorry, Mom. Not really. She just said, I didn't want to lose my image." He stared at the table, his hands clenched. Everything we had was built on lies, and I was too blind to see it. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. I reached out and placed my hand over his. "Ethan," I said softly, "sometimes love makes us see what we want to see, not what's there. You're not blind. You were hopeful, and there's no shame in that." He swallowed hard. I told her to leave. I couldn't look at her anymore. "Did she go?" He nodded. "She packed her things. She cried, but I think she was crying for herself, not for me." I sighed. "I'm sorry you had to go through this, my son." He looked at me, really looked, for the first time in years, and his eyes softened. "I'm the one who should be sorry," he said quietly. "I let her turn me against you. I believed her stories. I thought you didn't care. I thought money could fix the distance." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded check, one of the ones Clara had sent. He laid it on the table. "I cashed it," he said, "and I used it for something else." I frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" He smiled faintly. "I fixed the roof, and I planted new roses in your garden, just like I promised when I was a kid." I covered my mouth, trying not to cry. "Oh, Ethan." He took my hand. "I don't have much left to give right now, Mom, but I want to start over, with honesty this time." I nodded, unable to speak. We sat there quietly as the evening sun streamed through the window, painting everything golden. It felt like time had slowed, like the house was breathing again after years of silence. Later, before he left, he stood by the doorway and said something I'll never forget. "Mom, you always told me that money can build walls or bridges. It depends on how it's used. I built walls, but you kept the bridge waiting." I smiled through tears. "Bridges take time, son, but they hold better than any mansion." He hugged me tightly, the kind of hug that says I finally understand. After he left, I went outside to look at the new rose bushes. They were small and still fragile, but they stood straight, reaching for the sun. The soil around them was fresh, his work, his effort, his apology. And as I watched the petals tremble in the soft wind, I realized something powerful. Sometimes truth doesn't destroy, it rebuilds. And forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means choosing peace over pride. That night, I wrote a small note and tucked it inside my Bible, right where the photo used to be. It said, "Some gifts are meant to silence. Others are meant to heal. The ones that heal never come with a price tag." Months passed after Ethan left Clara. Life slowly found its rhythm again. He visited more often, sometimes just for tea, sometimes to help in the garden. He smiled more too, though I could still see the sadness in his eyes when certain songs played on the radio. But he was healing one quiet day at a time. One afternoon, as I sat on the porch knitting, the mailman stopped by. He handed me a small envelope, plain cream-colored, with my name written neatly across the front. There was no return address. I turned it over in my hands. The handwriting looked familiar, almost like Clara's. My heart skipped. For a moment, I thought about throwing it away, but something stopped me. Maybe curiosity, maybe forgiveness already starting to bloom. I opened it. Inside was a short note and a folded check. The note read, "Mrs. Thompson, I know I don't deserve your kindness or your silence, I have lost everything, my home, my husband, my peace. But I am writing not to ask for pity. I am writing to say thank you. You could have ruined me with that photo, but you didn't. You protected Ethan's heart until he could see for himself. I don't know what forgiveness feels like, but I hope this small act brings you comfort. Clara. The check was for $5,000, the same amount she used to send every month. Only this time, she hadn't written for Mom. She had written for the new roses. That's forgiveness, Ethan. Letting go without holding on. He reached for the check and handed it to me. Do whatever you want with it, Mom. I don't want a single penny. I folded it carefully. I know exactly what to do. A week later, I took the check to the local park, the same one where Ethan used to play as a boy. They had been planning to build a small children's garden, but were short on funds. When I handed the donation to the park manager, I asked for one small favor. Could you place a little sign near the rose bed? I said. He smiled. Of course. What should it say? I wrote the words slowly, letting them settle into my heart as I spoke them aloud. For all the bridges built after broken hearts. Spring came early that year. The new roses in the park bloomed brighter than any I'd ever seen. People came and went, children laughed, and sometimes, when I walked by, I thought of Clara. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with something softer. The kind of peace that grows only after pain has taught you patience. One afternoon, as I watered the roses in my own garden, Ethan came over with a small box. What's this? I asked. Something for you, he said. I opened it and found a gold locket inside, simple, elegant. Inside was a tiny photo, one side of me holding him as a baby, and on the other, the new roses we planted together. On the back, engraved in small, careful letters, were the words, "For the mother who taught me what real wealth is." I couldn't hold back the tears. He smiled gently. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. That night, as I sat by the window, I thought back to the day this all began, when he had asked, Mom, do you like the $5,000 Clara gives you? Back then, those words had felt heavy, like a wound I couldn't explain. Now they felt like the start of something sacred, a journey that stripped away false riches and replaced them with truth. Money had tried to buy silence, but love had spoken louder. Moral of the story: sometimes, the greatest test of love is what we do in silence. A lie can buy peace for a moment, but only truth can build peace that lasts. And forgiveness, quiet, patient, unspoken, can turn even betrayal into a bridge for healing. As I looked out at the roses glowing under the moonlight, I whispered a small prayer. Not just for myself or my son, but for Clara too. Because forgiveness isn't about who is right. It's about freeing your own heart to love again. And in that gentle silence, I finally felt rich. Not in money, but in peace.